I'm John. I own Clearfield Farm. We're here in Granville, Vermont. We do about 8 or 10 acres of certified organic vegetables, a little bit of cut flowers. Today we're going to go over this baby root washer that I built. It's just a Harbor Freight cement mixer that my dad actually got at a yard sale for like 25 bucks. But I think retail they're about 150. I think I got one bundle of 1x3 strapping from the building supply down here in Hancock. So that was about 25 bucks for the bundle of it, which there was still some left over, I'm pretty sure, because these are only 3 feet long and I got 10 foot a 10-foot bundle of 1x3 strapping. This is a bike rim from Green Mountain Bikes, so that was free. I had to just pick it out of his basement. He's got a big pile of parts in his basement. And then these, I think, yeah, so I use carriage bolts for bolting the strapping to the cement mixer itself, because on the head side of a carriage bolt it's smooth, so it wasn't going to grind up any of the roots. And other than that, yeah, it's really only attached by those, and then it's kind of this rim just helps keep everything together. It's still set at the regular speed that a cement mixer would be, so here we can, it's fairly quick. From what I understand, you can put a dimmer switch right here and crank it right down. I don't know enough about it to mess around with that, so I just run it as is, and it's been fine. We haven't had any damage that didn't last the winter with carrots, and in fact I just threw out our last 5 pounds of rainbow carrots from last October that we picked, that we washed through this, and we did I think about 2,000 pounds of roots through this at the end of last season, and that didn't count what we had been doing through the season, because we were selling baby carrots to restaurants long before October. But yeah, so I'm going to show you. We've got a little bucket of baby carrots right here. Some of them are baby, some of them are full grown, but it'll wash them all just the same. So I like to get a little station set up with a produce bin lifted off the ground some, and directly in line with how this is going to dump out. So one nice thing about using a cement mixer is that it already has this built-in feature where you can dump whatever you've got going in. You can dump it right out, so that really helps with you don't have to shut it off and get in there and scrape anything out, or get a tool to pull stuff out. This is already set up to do it the most efficient way possible. So what I like to do first is give the carrots that are in the bucket a little spritz, knock off some of the bigger clods. But we just picked these about a minute ago, so really the dirt hasn't dried yet, so everything should be ready to go. Okay, and we put it in here, and this can take, I do usually 50 pounds at a time. This might be 7 pounds. And give it a little spritz. And actually I leave this usually, I leave this going. Turn this on. So it's going to push everything to the back. It's tip back some. I got these little dollar store bristles on there. Those are my scrubbers. And this, me spritzing it down, that's optional. I guess you could probably set up something if you were going to use this every week, but I don't use it every week, so I don't even have it. So this is done, 7 pounds of carrots pretty quickly here. It will do a full 5-gallon bucket, which is 35 pounds, and then a little extra, which will bump us up to 50 pounds. It'll do that just as quick as it did this. And obviously I go a lot quicker when I'm not explaining it. So then the last thing I do is I start running it again. After I'm sure there's no dirt stuck on anything. And I'm going to dump it into this produce crate here. The idea with this is when I dump it out, I want to have it set up just so that I'm not losing anything. But then I'm going to look through this and you know, pick out any carrots with bug damage or you know, any abnormalities that may not hold up in storage. But that's it. You know, that you could have done in a minute by yourself. You know, not explaining it. But now we're left with carrots that are, you know, of nice quality. We can stick them in a. Let's see, like that's got a little bug damage. That one too. And then you know, we can stick these in a bag and away they go. And that's pretty much it. So all in all, you know, this is an under $200 affair if you were to do this from scratch, and buying everything brand new. You don't have to buy everything new. I mean, there's not much that goes wrong with these cement mixers, and if it were to go wrong, it's, you know, it's $150 at Harbor Freight, and they're always giving out the 20% off coupons, so you know, 20% off 150 too. It's worked great for us. This is on year 3, and we've done nothing to it since I put it together. So this year we will be upgrading to a barrel washer because we're up to the, you know, 10,000-15,000 pounds of roots at the end of the season now. So we could certainly do it through this, but I want to have something that's going to be a little easier to wash that quantity with. If you had a really good system down and you had this thing set up permanently, and you know, maybe you had like a bigger table for all the stuff to dump out on, yeah, you could be doing a lot. The only reason that we're moving to a barrel washer is that our account is for horse or chef grade carrots, you know, with a 2-inch shoulder, 1.5 to 2-inch shoulder, and this is really built for baby carrots, or you know, something that maybe that wide of a shoulder, you know, at most. That's what this was built for. So now that we're into a different sales category, or not sales category, you know, we're into a different customer base, so they require something different. So now this doesn't work so well for us. But if you were only doing baby carrots, you know, you go from washing 100 pounds in an hour to 100 pounds in 10 minutes. So, you know, you do the math. You know, you're going to pay somebody, what, $12-15 an hour to wash roots. You know, in a couple of bins, they're going to shake them around, spray them, move them around by hand, shake them, throw them in this thing. You know, it does most of the work in 5 minutes. You're done. So, I don't know. That was what made me want to build this. But you know, this is a pretty versatile tool for most farms that aren't doing, you know, a crazy amount of roots in a week. If you're doing a couple thousand pounds of roots a week, yeah, I would just get a barrel washer. But if you're doing, you know, 500 pounds, that's you know, what, maybe an hour and a half in this thing. So really, it's not bad. So on the inside, I have the angles cut exact opposite of this. So if you can see the insides of these slats, they fit right up against the inside of the cement mixer. Mm-hmm. So if you could just picture these edges, but flipped over, like over that way, you know, so like completely flipped over. And that actually helped for when I was putting this thing together. It didn't matter which side was going which way; they were all the same, mm-hmm. You know. So, but that helps keep junk from accumulating.
Right, it keeps that gap tight on the back
there's
side.
No reason to have a gap in there.